Yeah, I want to talk about the economy with oil prices being low and how it's going to lead to a catastrophic situation where there's going to be so many defaults in the oil companies that it's going to lead to extremely high oil prices. There's also a bunch of funny money loans out there in the bond market that are going to get default, and they're also going to have to be bailed out. Now, while I'm telling you all this stuff, I'm showing you an HHO system I installed in my little Jeep here, and you can see it's hardly running on what, just a few amps. It's hardly nothing, and you can see that output coming out of it. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because I don't have the engine running right now. I'm actually making a little bit of a hydrogen bomb when I'm doing this, actually. But the reason I'm actually just showing this, while I'm going to talk about what's going on with, well, first off, Goldman Sachs has been lying. I don't know what their position is right now, but they were the #1 holders of double leverage oil on the way up, back when oil was below $40 a barrel on the WTI, and they were claiming it was going to go down to 20. Now you know it's around 60, right? So they made quite a bit of money. Double leverage, 50% increase would be like double your money, approximately, almost that high. It's a little more complicated than that because it erodes after a while if you use it. But I don't want to get into that. But what I'm telling you is, with all the Middle East tensions out there, with ISIS, they're talking about they need another 20,000 troops on the ground. Obama won't give that, I'm sure. Syria is worried about ISIS. ISIS is digging up artifacts from the area to get more money so they can fight, you know, the Sunnis. Saudis looking to freaking arm themselves with nukes because Iran's going to have nukes. It's all going to lead to a major oil crunch, because when the stuff hits in the Middle East, we're going to be unprepared, because what's going on right now, there's a record number of oil rigs and new oil exploration is going plummeting, and there's a lot more defaults going on. And I can tell you right now, the Wall Street sharks, they want this to happen. What they do is, I'm going to tell you right now too, the spot price is bullshit. It has been. You know, there's been even the head of the New York Mercantile Exchange, it's been going on since the year 2000, ongoing lawsuits about the rigging of the spot price for the last 15 years in the oil markets especially, but all the commodities. So, you know, but what they do is when they bring them down like this, they force a lot of people out of business, they default, and they buy up all the assets on pennies on a dollar. And then guess what's going to happen? It's going to go like a boomerang up the other way. But this is also going to be the beginning of the next major financial crisis. These actual super low oil prices they're too low to freaking for the shale oil industry to keep up. The Saudis aren't keeping up even their production even. So you can see there's cracks in the system right there. But what's going to really bring it up fast, if there's a major conflict involving Saudi and that oil comes off the market, you're going to see it go up through the roof. And guess what? The average middle-class consumer is going to get hit really, really bad. Now, the reason I'm highlighting this little HHO system thing, I don't sell this stuff or nothing like that. I just bought it, you know, on eBay. I'm going to get one for my El Camino. They work very well on older carbureted cars along with a K&N filter. But I know people are going to be shopping around for gasoline, looking for, you know, which gasoline's a few pennies less when it goes up to like $4.20 a gallon. I can get it for $4.10, or I got it below $4. Well, if you do something like this, you'll get, I don't know, easy 10% better for most cars. And if you have the emission control cars, they got the new divider thing, which divides the hydrogen from the oxygen, so you're not putting HHO in the system, you're actually putting pure hydrogen, so you don't have to go mess with the electronics, the emission controls, or mess with the O2 sensor, which is illegal anyway. So, but there's going to be a number of freaking credit defaults because of these low oil prices. Yeah, the oil companies have hedged, but they haven't hedged for that long. They can only survive so long. They're already freaking been upside down. And the S&P, 25% of the market of the S&P is actually energy or energy related or energy exploration. Now, I'm going to tell you something else. Goldman Sachs also talked about in 2013, at the end of 2013, one of the best things, they were all telling everybody to invest in energy-related oil exploration, oil rigs, that type of stuff. Like, in other words, the research and development of oil, not only just the oil companies. And guess what happened? right after that. It fell like crazy. Now they're telling everybody, even though, now I don't know what their current position is right this second, but I know it was several months ago. Their position was double leverage oil on the way up, and they were talking it down. They're talking it down to 45, but, you know, one thing in the Middle East can change this whole situation. But, you know, I think they're playing the game is they want as many freaking companies in the oil exploration area and rigs to go under so they can buy up those capital assets for pennies on the dollar, and then they're going to go ahead and raise the prices, and they're going to be the ones in the driver's seat gleaming all the profits. But what does that mean for you? You're screwed because you're going to be dealing with all that. And the reason I'm not telling you this HHO thing is the freaking best thing in the world, but it's one thing you can do, and you're just going to have to grab your tools and hammers and welders and do whatever the hell you can to freaking make things work on your own. You can even use motorized bicycles, you know, because when the price goes up a lot, it's going to hit records, and that's going to be a major. It's going to kill the economy because it's going to pull a lot of net disposable income out of the economy. And you know, because this, like I said, too low oil prices are going to lead to too high. It's the fact that the too low oil prices are causing oil rigs to just stop going. You know, they're just closing down. Oil companies are going into default. And if Saudi gets taken off the market through a major conflict, which ISIS is getting a lot more money for selling artifacts in that area because they're digging up all the old archaeological artifacts. They're going to use that money to buy weapons to attack Saudi. And if anything happens with Saudis, any of their refineries or anything like that, hey, you're going to see the freaking oil price go like exponentially high overnight. And that's exactly what happens. You know, you can't think all the way back to the 70s and what happened in the, you know, the 6-Day War and all this type of stuff like that. And they had the Iranian hostage crisis, but that's actually when everything else, all commodities went up. So the thing is, for you though, you don't want to freaking be victimized by them. You want to do things on your own. And the other thing is, they can offer a solution of like, yeah, buy a Chinese-made roller skate car because Maurice Strong, the communist Marxist bastard from Canada that is good friends with all the Communist Party, that's one of his business ventures to push Chinese-made cars here in the United States during the next fuel crisis. You want to do that? I would say no. I'd stick with all USA products all the way. But it's going to be a matter of, you're not going to get it from Mr. Big Corporation world. It's going to have to come from little entrepreneurs. And this is one of the solutions out there, this HHO. This thing with the K&N filter, and if you actually had headers and a free-flowing exhaust, you can easily get 25% better mileage without spending, you know, $20,000 or more on a new car. So, you know, the crisis is coming up. It's on the horizon. Don't hold your breath. It's not going to happen next week. But when it happens, it can happen very quickly because Middle East events are unpredictable, and these bastards know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They're driving the oil companies out of business so they can buy them up, pennies on the dollar. They always have done this. They've done this with the farmers way back when too. Well, they're doing it even today. Why the hell do you think we got big corporate farming today instead of freaking little farmers? But that's exactly what they've been doing. So in this video, I want to show you. That's, what is that, running a minor, tiny amount of amps. I don't know, 3-4 amps. You could see that kind of production it gets out of that even, you know. So that doesn't actually provide so much the fuel, but what that's doing is that hydrogen mixed with the existing fuel mix causes the existing fuel mix to burn even cleaner, more efficiently, and more completely to lower the emissions and give you better mileage and power. And it hardly takes anything off of, you know, I could set this to 20 amps and get a hell of a lot of production, but I don't. But just that little bit makes a difference. So this vehicle has never gotten this kind of good mileage until I did this and the K&N filter. I know the motorcycle over there gets 50 miles to the gallon. It's not supposed to, but that's been modified, but not with this, but other things. But I've been looking out for this for quite some time because I know how these bastards think. And that's exactly what they're doing. That's what Wall Street's always been doing. They can manipulate the price up and down to crush people out of business, that actually build the things, that actually make the products, that actually build the houses, that build the construction, mine to mine, you know, the materials, the commodities, the metals, the people that, you know, to extract the oil. And then when they drive them out of business, they take up all their capital assets and their life work for pennies on the dollar. That's exactly how they play the game. And then when they're in the driver's seat, the prices go up. But like I said, there's nothing you can do about that. What you can do is don't deal with the corporation. Screw them all the way. So my best advice.